I'm Laura Sawyier, and I dress people for a living. I go into people's closets and help them decide what works and doesn't work for their body, their budget, and their lifestyle. I dress people just like you and me. I'm an expert in the applied psychology of style with my graduate studies in psychology at Harvard. This emerging field seeks to address the personal relationship we each have with our style and how it impacts our performance, moods, behaviors, and relationships, and how we can use style strategically to transform all of these things. So what is style? At a macro level, style refers to the external manifestation of who we are through our aesthetic choices. And on a micro day-to-day level, style involves our clothing, how we adorn our body and carry ourselves. It's our beauty and grooming habits. And taken together, all of these elements communicate to ourselves and to others our unique gender, cultural, religious, and personal beliefs. So I'm going to pause here for a second and clarify something with you all. Style is not the same thing as fashion. Fashion is often associated with the latest hot trends, luxury logos, and exclusivity. Style is about who you are at your core. Even if you don't think you have style, we all have to get dressed, and you do have style. So I want to tell you about a client of mine. We're going to call her Kelly. Kelly hesitated for months before reaching out to me because she was terrified to let me into her closet, understandably. But eventually she reached a breaking point. And the first time we spoke, she got on the phone and she said, "Laura, I was gearing up for my daughter's middle school graduation. Time was running out. I have kids, dogs, social activities. I decided that I was going to pull something from my closet instead of buying new. I just needed to keep things moving." So on the morning of the graduation, Kelly goes into her closet, and she tries on 5 of her dresses. And none fit well, so she ended up choosing the least worst option. Those were her words. She gets to the graduation, she sits down, and she immediately feels this wave of awkwardness. And she's fixated on whether or not people were staring at her, thinking, was her dress too tight, too wrinkled, or just plain unflattering? And this consumed her. And then, when Kelly got home and changed into something more comfortable, her discomfort turned into shame. And this is the moment that Kelly realized that her clothing choices had stolen precious moments from her daughters and her family's big day. And these were moments that she would never, ever get back. How many of you have ever experienced a similar feeling? I have. Anybody else want to raise their hand late? Okay. None of us are immune to this. Thankfully, there are 3 game-changing insights from the applied psychology of style that can help. No matter your caretaking responsibility, your health status, your job demands, or financial pressures, when you walk into your closet, these concepts can help transform your self-image, your confidence levels, and your daily pleasure. And these concepts are enclothed cognition, self-fashioning, and dopamine dressing. Okay, let's start with the first one, all right? Just give me a minute to get it out, okay? Enclothed cognition. It's a mouthful. And as technical as this is, it's something that we can all understand. So I'm going to break it down for you. Enclothed cognition refers to how we feel and how we embody an article of clothing and how it impacts our thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. It's the symbolic meaning embedded in the item that we're wearing, coupled with the physical experience of wearing it. In other words, it's all about what we wear and how it impacts how we think and how we feel. Steve Jobs famously wore the exact same outfit every day. Three elements. I'm sure you're all picturing it right now, right? A black shirt, jeans, and sneakers. He did this because he actually understood the power of style. And it's likely that he did this to communicate to himself and to others around him that he was laser focused on the work. Enclothed cognition can also show up in a way for any of us when we're wearing, let's say, a special necklace from our grandmother. The physical act of wearing this can likely evoke feelings of connection, warmth, and her personal values. On the flip side of this, wearing a piece of jewelry can also symbolize something that we don't want in our lives anymore. And here's one that I think many of us can relate to. Back in the early days of COVID, in 2020, I wrote an article imploring people to get out of their pajamas. We're far enough away from that now, we can laugh about the pajama thing. And I did this at the time and still believe this because I was not denying people of their comfort, but to show people and to tell people how important it is to establish delineation in your day. The simple act of putting on clean clothing in the morning signals to your brain that it's time to get to work. Not just work, any work. And then putting your PJs on or your comfy clothes towards the end of your day is signaling to your brain that it's time to power down. Neuroscience tells us that we need these transitions in order to compartmentalize our days. And when done in a healthy way, it can help us manage our stress levels. So, in summary, Enclothed cognition combines our style and aligns it with our values and goals from the inside out. The second concept is self-fashioning. And to illustrate this, I'd just like for you to think for a moment how you'd describe your personal style to a friend. What words come to mind? Clients of mine use a wide range of labels to describe themselves. They use things like minimalist, modern, preppy, sporty. The list goes on and on and on and on. There are so many. But know this, every single one of us, are multidimensional and ever-evolving. And self-fashioning celebrates this. It allows us to show up as our original selves while also reading the room. Now, an example of self-fashioning, one that I find very inspiring, is Michelle Obama's style journey from her tenure as the first Black First Lady to her post-White House book tours. She revealed to us a few years ago that she considered wearing her natural hair while her husband was president, but she instead chose to wear it straightened, in her words, because Americans were, quote, not ready for it, unquote. During her time in the White House, she made sure that her external presentation did not take away from the important topics. She brilliantly balanced poise and accessibility, championing American designers and infusing her wardrobe with pieces at various price points, most notably from J. Crew. We all have a few of those cardigans, maybe. Fast forward to her post-White House book tours, and she started showing up in more expressive and bold styles, embracing high fashion silhouettes, bright colors, and new hairstyles, all while maintaining the authenticity and relatability that we know of her public persona. Michelle Obama teaches all of us that we are multidimensional and ever-evolving, and that we can use style to tell our stories as we transition through different points throughout our lives. Third and final concept for you here, dopamine dressing. You may have heard it lately. I'll kick this one off with another question for you, another one to think about. As you were getting dressed this morning, what did you say to yourself when you looked in the mirror? All right. Wasn't expecting a laugh on that one, but okay. Awesome. I ask you this because style isn't just about what we put on our bodies, it's also about how we talk to ourselves. Just as you can tailor your clothing to fit your body, you can tailor your self-talk when you're getting dressed. And this is really important because the internal dialogue we have with ourselves when we get dressed in the morning shapes our confidence and it sets the tone for the day. Researchers tell us that we produce upwards of 60,000 thoughts per day. And for many people, 70 to 80% of those are negative, and 90% of them are repetitive. You might be saying things like, I'm not good enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not thin enough, right? But know this. Dopamine dressing is the act of wearing clothing that enhances your mood by incorporating fun patterns, vibrant colors, and personalized styles that elicit joy and confidence, thereby triggering the release of dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. We can use this to help unravel our negative nots and can'ts into more positive why nots and I ams. Now, I recognize this is a really hard thing to do. I'm guilty of it as well. I have my moments. But it's important for you to understand how critical this is, especially with the rise of social media and how it's enhancing and amplifying our own personal critique. Many of us start our days by opening our phones, sometimes before we're out of bed, guilty, and scrolling on social media, inevitably comparing ourselves and seeing how we may or may not measure up to other people online. These often highly staged images, and remember, social media is curated, are like fast-growing weeds in our brains. They're sprouting all sorts of feelings of self-judgment and unrealistic comparisons. Pretty soon, we can't even see and appreciate our real selves anymore. And it's really important to understand this part, especially because we are collectively living through a loneliness epidemic. According to US Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, loneliness is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes per day. That's how detrimental it is to our health. So, within knowing that, what I'd like to offer you when you're getting dressed in the morning is that you put your rose-colored glasses on when you're getting ready and you're looking in the mirror. Whether you want to or not, just do it and say something positive to yourself, even if you're not feeling it. Just do it. Another way we can use style and dopamine dressing is also to connect with other people, not just with ourselves. I was in New York City a year ago, and I was sitting on the subway. I've got my headphones on, minding my own business, listening to music. And I can just feel this woman staring at me out of the corner of my eye. You know that feeling when someone's just like locked in on you? I know that feeling right now, by the way. And I glance over at her a few times, and finally she catches my eye, and I see her pointing at her glasses, and she's mouthing the words, "I love your glasses." That simple compliment completely turned my day around. And here I was, sitting on the subway, going from point A to point B, like everybody else is. We've got our blinders up, we're just trying to move forward. And this woman went out of her way to offer me a compliment. And then when I got off the subway, I saw a woman in green sneakers, and green is my favorite color, not to be mistaken for this. And I went up to her because of the glasses compliment. And I tapped her on her shoulder really quick, and I said, "That's a great pair of shoes." And I wished her a great day. So, loneliness is a real problem in our lives. A compliment can turn your day or someone else's day around. All it takes is a quick moment. Just do it. You might get a hit of dopamine. Now that you understand how the concepts of enclothed cognition, self-fashioning, and dopamine dressing can enhance your style and your life, what actions can you take today? I'll leave you with two really easy ones. Here are your 2 styling tips, okay? Number 1, compliment someone. If you see someone and you genuinely admire something that they're wearing and you want to connect with them, go up to them and say, "I love your blank." Tell me the story behind it. You will be amazed at the connection that comes from this conversation. Number 2, take a photo of yourself. If you love what you're wearing, and if someone compliments you and/or, capture the moment. We all have phones in our pockets. I don't right now, though, which is a good thing. But we're all carrying around these devices with cameras. Capture that moment when you feel great in what you're wearing. You can go into the bathroom and take a photo in the mirror. You can take a selfie. It doesn't matter. No one's going to see it but you. And when you do that, save it to a folder on your phone. And the next time you go to get ready, instead of scrolling your social media feed, scroll your personal lookbook instead for outfit inspiration. And whatever your style is, I hope you wear it well.